Oh, yes. Welcome back to a very exciting group of Millwall fans. Welcome back to episode 36 of Where Lions Walk. This week, our topic is, do we owe Billy Mitchell an apology? Just how good of a player has he become under Alex Neil? Plus, we're looking at the final 4 games. Are Millwall about to do the impossible and gatecrash the Premier League? We're also announcing our team's player of the season this year and who's the best player that we've seen play against the Lions. We've got Charlie and Callum back with us. Thank you very much for joining us. Only 3 more records left due to illness. We haven't been around for the last week or so apologies if you've been looking out for us, misses, but we are back to count down now, Charlie. What could be the most blood-boiling, piss-boiling event of the footballing existence of Millwall being promoted to the Premier League. Can you imagine the fallout there's going to be if this actually happens?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've had a taster of it already this year, and it's safe to say that it's still being talked about now. So I think that tells you, So
yeah, Palace fans are going to be absolutely seething.
Yeah, I'm still very much in a stage where I'm not expecting it, but I'm hopeful. It's sort of written in the stars. There's always that one team who come through last minute push.
Absolutely.
And why can't it be us this time? You know?
Absolutely. Why can't it be? And you're playing well as well, and you're not conceding. And okay, you're not scoring bucket loads. But Callum, do you believe? I know you don't want to be openly optimistic because it always puts a kibosh on things. But there's a little bit of you that's getting a bit excited.
Yeah, a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, a little bit. It's been a bit. I don't know. It's just been a bit weird. Like I think none of us have even expected us to be in the picture. I think throughout the season, like we've had, bad results, and then we've been on a high, and then we've been on a low after a result, and then we thought, oh, we're not going to be in this. But we put a run together the last 3 weeks, 3 wins in a row now, and yeah, we've been playing really, really well. So it's kind of now with 4 games to go and being within a shout of 6th place. It's looking very likely, but we need obviously teams to do their bit. Other teams to put people out. This like Coventry tonight, as we were recording this, so playing hopefully he'll do us a favour, and then we've got some good games, games that we could probably win, except for the Burnley one, and we've got Blackburn away, which is always a tough place for us to go. But yeah, it's looking hopeful, Mark. I mean,
yeah, well, you're
saying that we'll get in there. It might actually come true. You never know.
Absolutely. Well, you're the only side in the whole division that's beaten Leeds, Burnley, and Sheffield United. So whichever of those 3 finishes third, they are not going to want to face Millwall at all, especially Sheffield United, given the run that they are on at the moment. But we are, of course, looking back at the Middlesbrough game briefly here as well before we look at the final 4. And let us know in the comments who should be your player of the season. And one player, particularly who's maybe in with a shout with that wasn't a month ago, is Billy Mitchell, Charlie. Do we, and I include all 3 of us here on this one, because I put some tweets about him that haven't been pleasant, not from my own, but we've shared them. Do we all owe him an apology?
Yeah, I definitely do. I've been one of Billy's harshest critics. And to be fair, I think at some points it was deservedly so. He did deserve a bit of criticism under the last couple of managers. He has had some suspicious times, but this last few weeks under Alex Neil, I think he's finally been given a bit of freedom in the midfield as well. I think a lot of under Rowett, and especially Rowett, I think Rowett turned him into quite a negative midfielder, and it sort of translated when he was going through under Harris and Edwards. But now he's, Billy Iniesta, I think they called him earlier. So, yeah. But yeah, I'm really impressed with him. He's done really well. And with Casper in the midfield, I think they're a brilliant dynamic together.
Yeah, it doesn't quite work this, Scott, but Billy Mitchell Dino will go with. And Terry says a massive apologies to Mitchell. I've criticised, but the last few games he has been unreal. Callum, you too are guilty of this as well, I think, over the season. Do you owe him an apology as well?
I do. I owe him a massive apology. I always keep calling him sideways and backwards Mitchell because you can't pass a ball forward between the lines. But no, yeah. Do you know what? Literally what Charlie just said is spot on, really. I think the last couple of weeks he's been unbelievable in that midfield with Caspar Denore. And I think it shows that, what Alex Neil's trying to do with this team now, where we're trying to expand, our football within this team. Not going direct. Playing with the ball when we need to. Mixing up a little bit. I think you're starting to now see Alex Neil's football in fruition the league last couple of weeks, and it's really showing. I think we've when he's come in, he's started a bit slow, and then now we're coming to see better performances. And I think the some of the performances and results we've got over the last couple of weeks, I think Alex Neil deserves a lot of credit, because I think it's some of the games that we've won, especially the Sheffield United away game, was a brilliant performance, and it was just a masterclass, really. So I think the fans at the moment, I think we're all so pleased of how well it's coming into fruition now, and hopefully, Alex Neil in the past has done well in playoffs. He's got Norwich to the playoffs. Preston are in around there and stuff. So hopefully, that's why we're a bit hopeful, because he's done it before. So why not?
Yeah, he's got pedigree for it, hasn't he? Absolutely, and he doesn't get, from me, enough credit. Certainly in the media, anyway. Charlie, I don't know if you agree with this. What Grubber says about Alex Neil: we need to back this fella when we have a bad run, which we will eventually. He's a thoroughly decent guy and a quality manager. Smallfield people doubted him too. He gets us. He makes match-winning subs. He's an absolute breath of fresh air, and just on that getting Millwall, Neil Harris was adored because, he gets Millwall. He's Millwall through and through. He bleeds blue and white. And when Alex Neil came in, there was that little bit of kind of, well, who is he? He's got no connections to Millwall. So people do have this frown on. Is all that now gone?
Yeah, I think pretty much after this week's performance, I mean, literally the subs he made, he didn't hesitate. He brought Langstaff on at half time, and then his next two subs were made before the 60th minute mark. I think that's what, as a Millwall fan for the last 3, 4, 5, 6 seasons now, I've been waiting for a manager who's there to change a game. I feel like we've always had a manager who's there waiting for something to happen, and then he makes these subs. Whereas I feel like now we've actually got a proper tactician in. And I heard Joe Bryan talking about it in an interview a couple of weeks ago. He was saying how high level of a coach Alex Neil is. And I think that's sort of, we can see that in the performances from the squad. And it's really hopeful now. And I think people are starting to back him. Hopefully we have a good run in here, and see where it goes from there.
Yeah, I mean, our Middlesbrough fans were saying that Carrick just stood on the sidelines in that game, just watching those subs happen, didn't do anything about it, then conceded and tried to change it. So that is a definitely sign of a decent manager. How far can you take you, Callum?
Do you know what? I think, who knows? I think, if we do get into the playoffs, which is a massive maybe, but if we do, I mean, we love being the dark horses. So I think if we can sneak in there and have a right good go at the playoffs, we could get to the final, maybe semi-final. But I think, I've been saying this for a couple of weeks, and a couple of weeks ago I said it. I think the end of the season, if we do stay in the championship, we can, let players go, bring new players in, create another good squad that can get us up into a playoff position next season. I think the sky's the limit, to be honest. I mean, we've seen from this season what he can do. I think you've got to back the man. You've got to give him the players that he needs for him to play his style, bring the players that he wants in. And I think, we can have a good run at the playoffs next season. But, we've got to focus on the now. We can get in there now, and then, who knows, we could probably, go on a good run to the end of the season. So, sky's the limit for him. He just needs to keep going.
Okay. I want to ask about the atmosphere at the Den in a second, about both of you. But just finally on the Borough game, this one from Scott again. What a signing Kramer is turning out to be. Brilliant from each and every single one of them today. We've mentioned him a couple of times, Charlie, on this podcast already. But is he turning out to be one of the signings of the season?
I honestly think he might be one of the best signings, as in someone who Millwall have gone out scouted and brought, that I've ever seen. He came in, played right back, but he's never played before. Played it excellently for the past, since January. It hasn't put a foot wrong, really, apart from his throw-ins. And then Tanganga's gone out injured now, and honestly, he stepped into centre back, and you wouldn't notice. he was brilliant on Saturday. And yeah, long may it continue. I think he could be a really special player for us.
Absolutely. Yeah, heard lots and lots of good stuff about. Every time I've watched Millwall, I've been impressed with him on that right side. Right, the Den then, Callum. Lots of tweets that I've not captured here saying the Den was at the best it's been all season on Saturday. The atmosphere carried us through. Would you agree with that in terms of the Den is becoming hostile again for away players?
Yeah, definitely. I think, towards, we've been mid-table and then we've been, towards the bottom mid-table, I think. And, the Sky Sports Plus deal that, obviously the EFL clubs now have, we mentioned about this before, the 12:30 kickoffs, there's not a lot of fans that go to the stadiums. But, I think maybe it wasn't as great because maybe, we weren't doing as well and the results weren't going the way. So fans, weren't coming into the stadiums and creating that hostile atmosphere that we know that Den can be. I think now that we're in the playoff picture now, I think, it brings all, everyone together and, to support the boys in the current, 5 games. But I think definitely the Middlesbrough game was by far the best I've seen it this season. By far, I mean, it was absolutely electric, especially with the 2,500 Middlesbrough fans that came down as well. I think it was by far the best atmosphere at the Den. I mean, Leeds could have a shot of a run of it for its money, I think, but I think that might have topped it, to be fair, on Saturday.
Okay. Cheers for that. If you haven't yet found the channel this season, haven't been watching, first of all, where have you been? But secondly, please do drop us a subscribe. It'd be absolutely massive for us to continue to grow this as we have guests on all throughout the year as well. And just a massive thank you from all of us to Callum in particular, who's been on every single one of these episodes up to recently, and then Charlie, who's also since Christmas been a stalwart in fighting against all the rubbish that's written about this fantastic club. Right, dare we dream then? Let's have a look at the final 4 games that are going to make or break this. And if we don't end up doing it, then it's still been a cracking season. But I think there's 3 very winnable games here. Blackburn are terrible. Yes, they beat Luton at the weekend, but they will tell you they are not good. That is entirely winnable. Norwich are already on the beach. Swansea, well, if you listen to our Swansea fans earlier, they are the form team at the moment. That might not be as easy as it looks. They are certainly playing to be in the top half, and then Burnley may already be promoted by that point. How do you see these going, Charlie?
I see, as you say, I think I see 3 winnable games. And then I think the Burnley game, it really depends on what's happening up that end of the table come the end of the season. I think we all have to hope that it's sorted by the last day of the season. I think if that's what they have to play for the title and we have to play for the playoffs on that last day, it will be probably one of the most tense games I've ever been to.
Yeah.
But yeah, I honestly think we can get at least 9 points from them, and hopefully we can be 6 points better off than Coventry at that stage.
Okay, Callum, you're looking at that. Worried, pensive, excited? What's the emotions? I mean, in terms of fixtures,
I'm always worried.
These 2 fixtures this weekend, I think you can win both of those.
I just think, I mean, I think people might agree with me, but I think I look at that Blackburn game on Friday, and Blackburn away is not a happy hunting ground for us as a club. I think I don't know whether last season we did lose there last season, if I'm not mistaken. But I think you look at the 2 home games we've got, I think they're must-win games. And, Blackburn is a must-win game. I think we have to win the Blackburn game, Norwich game and Swansea game if we want to get into the playoffs. That Burnley game, like Charlie just said, if Burnley need to play for something, then that's going to be a tough game. I think if we win the 3 games before Burnley, then that would be the ideal scenario. But I think if we lose to Blackburn on Friday, I think it could be done. But depending on other results, we'll have to wait and see. But I think we have to at least win or go on an unbeaten run for the last 4 games to have a little sneak chance to get in there.
It's
What
4
would be
cup
even
finals.
better with that Burnley game as well is if they're in the playoffs, then we meet Fleming.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but when we don't know, it's just you can't predict the league though, can you? I mean, we're looking at it now. Every game is just like you don't know whether you're going to win, lose, draw. It's so up and down, isn't it? This league, so it's crazy.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we're all here for it. Absolutely love it. And as our Bristol City fans were talking about earlier, so they'd love. Wouldn't it be great to have a Bristol City versus Millwall final at Wembley?
Someone different.
One of them to go up. I generally wouldn't know who I'd want to win that. I would love to see either of you. Somebody different in the Premier League. Right, you two, let's get on with the Player of the Season awards then. So we're asking you in the comments to drop the name of the player you think most deserves this season's Player of the Year award. Charlie, who for you gets it?
I think we have to go to Japhet Tanganga. I think an honourable mention is Casper Denor. I think he's been exceptional, especially for the last couple of weeks. But the staple of our team this season for me has been Japhet Tanganga, week in, week out. I think he's our best player.
Real Callum.
Well, I was going to say Casper Denor for me. I think he's been so consistent this year. I think he tops the interceptions in the league this year. And, he's just a rock solid midfielder for us. I think he keeps the team ticking in that midfield. And, consistency throughout the season. I think he's popped up with a few big goals this season as well at some points. You think back to the cup game and, when against Dagenham Maribor, he scored a brilliant goal. And the Swansea away one as well, where we won 1-0. I can remember. But, he's been so good. He gets up and down the pitch. He's a Rolls Royce of a midfielder, so I've got to go for him.
Okay, good stuff.
Shout out to Liam Roberts as well.
Now.
Yeah.
Let us
down
know
that road, please.
Let us know in the comments, please. Finally, then we're asking you to name the Championship player of the season. Now, the 2 rules to this: 1, you can't choose a Millwall player, and it needs to be a player not that you've read loads about and you've heard is great, but you've seen in the flesh yourself. You've been sat in the den and watched opposition players against you, or you've watched away games or on TV or whatever. Who has played out their skin against Millwall either twice or once this season that deserves your accolade? Callum?
Ooh.
We'll go to Charlie first while you think.
Yeah,
Charlie.
go to Charlie. I'm just thinking quickly. Sorry, I do
I didn't think
apologise.
about this earlier, and I actually cast my mind back to the first game where he really impressed. It was literally the first game of the season. It was Watford, and I will butcher his name, but the Georgian midfielder.
Chakravarti.
Chakravarti, yeah.
I was really impressed with him on the first game of the season, and when I've seen him in other spells throughout the year, I've actually been really impressed by him. I think he's a quality player.
Okay. Callum?
Yeah, see, I was thinking of that as well. That free kick that he scored against us was quality. Do you know what? I think when Sunderland came down to the Den, I remember watching Tom Watson, and now he's obviously gone to Brighton now, at the end of the season. I think he's a real talent. I think he caused Ryan Leonard a few problems that day when Sunderland came to town. So I'd go for Tom Watson. I think he was quick, pacey, had a few skills, and he caused us a lot of problems. So I'd go Tom Watson.
Okay. Right. Thank you very much, both of you, for that. Our time is up on this particular episode, but join us next week as we look back on how we got on, of course, at Blackburn. We'll look at all the social media takes from those 2 games as well, and we'll look ahead to the final 2 games of the season. Also pick our goal of the season next week as well, so get thinking caps on for that. Thank you, Charlie. Thank you, Callum, and thank you very much for joining us on this exciting episode. Fingers crossed for the Wall this weekend. See you in 7 days.